I've been down that road too. That's not fun either.
Oh man. Hey. So tonight we're going to be talking about what it takes to be an actor. You know, I come to the entertainment world from the filmmaker side, and I've tried very hard to stay behind the camera up until Sway got me on this podcast.
Right.
So there's a lot of ins and outs of the acting world that I'm just not familiar with. So I'm excited to kind of get inside your head tonight and find out what you go through, what you've gone through, and like where we're going to be heading out from here.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, just wanting to be an actor goes way back to childhood. I was probably, 3 years old when I knew I wanted to be an actor. Basically from the first movie that I ever remember seeing, as a child. And, once I learned all about that make-believe world and what actors do, and I just thought that would just be the best job in the world, basically, you're getting paid to kind of to not grow up in a sense, it's like you can, in movies, you can be anything you want to be, you can be that, you can be that action hero or that, that funny guy or, whatever it is, that you aspire to do, movies and TV and theater and all of that kind of provide you the opportunity, gives you a platform, to do that on. And so I was always doing stuff as a kid, always had an active imagination and I was always like acting out scenes from my favorite movies and stuff with my friends out in the backyard and, doing impressions and stuff like that and making my friends laugh and doing like little talent shows and things like that along the way.
What was the first role that you ever took?
Actually, the first like real role would have been, I guess, when I was like 16. I did a musical called Scrooge, the Stingiest Man in Town.
Okay.
And it was a take on A Christmas Carol, but it was a church musical, and that was right around the time that I like started getting like serious about acting. Where I'm like this is what I really want to do for a living, and so I went on to do like a handful of theater productions throughout high school and college. I did Arsenic and Old Lace and Clue the musical, which was a lot of fun. Played Professor Plum in that, and did a couple of shows in college, and then the funny thing was I kind of got away from it for a while. I started out as a theater major at UK, and then I actually changed majors halfway through my junior year and switched to communications because I kind of let my parents and some other people sort of get inside my head a little bit about the acting thing, and they were always just like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be in such an unstable career? You need to have a normal job and all this kind of stuff. And I guess I sort of bought into it a little bit. And so I decided to fall back on something that seemed a little bit more realistic or doable, which was communications with like a focus on journalism. Because I thought if I hadn't become an actor, I always thought that maybe I'd like to be a broadcaster, something along those lines.
I did the
because
same
there's
thing.
there's still some performance aspect to that. It's like I knew I still wanted to be, in front of a camera, whatever I was doing. And so but I didn't end up doing anything with that either. So for about 14 years, I just kind of went from one job to another, did everything from retail to factory work to, you know, to office jobs, call centers, you know, pretty much anything you can think of. I probably have done it at some point. But, you know, just was never really happy, you know, with anything that I was doing. And so finally, the thing that sort of hit me over the head back in 2015, I was actually in training to become a restaurant manager, if you could believe it, which was like so out of left field for me, because up until that point, I had no experience whatsoever in the food service industry. But, you know, I knew that, you know, the pay was pretty good, and you know, their training program was like, you know, 3 months, you know, to become a manager, and they had me doing everything. You know, you pretty much had to learn all the different aspects of the restaurant operation. So I had to learn how to wait tables and cook and bartend and host and all that stuff. And it was like, it was a lot. You know, I learned pretty quickly what it takes to run a restaurant, and I just didn't really have the passion for it. And so the general manager sat down with me, and he said, you know, it's clear your head's not really in this. You know, he said, especially if you're going to be, you know, a restaurant manager, you have to have a passion for this business. You know, he said, like the rest of us, we kind of eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. And he said, clearly you don't. You know, it's clear that you're not really interested. And he said, so, you know, let me ask you, if there's one thing you could be doing, anything in the world that you could do and get paid for it, what would that be? And you know, I didn't even have to think about it. You know, I was like, well, you know, I'd be an actor. You know, that's what I've always wanted to do. And so that conversation was the turnaround for me. And so then I like kind of, you know, kicked into high gear again, and started, you know, pursuing acting, you know, looking into it as a career, and you know, got connected with a local talent agency, you know, just to sort of get my foot in the door, because I'd always, you know, growing up, that's what I had always been taught, was like, if you want to be an actor, you have to have an agent. And, you know, you got to have representation, because, you know, they're going to tell you where the good auditions are, and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, what's the market? What's the climate like in Lexington for actors? Whoa.
It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut Butter